So in Libya today, political power is highly fragmented, security is highly fragmented. There are a number of different actors and groups across the country, each vying for control and for power. And that translates into an economy where the formal economy has essentially been overtaken by a black market economy, and increasingly the ability to dispense force is decisive. And so what I've been looking at is the growth of Libya's war economy, and that's where economic activities are dependent on the dispensation of violence, and looking at what that means for the future of Libya. Libya's war economy has four modalities. The first is when goods are sold directly, namely smuggling. The second is when rents or extortion are practiced to extract money and revenue, principally through the dispensation of force. The third is the extraction of revenue from the state itself. And the fourth is the external patronage of foreign actors. So to take one of those elements and focus on it a little, if we look at smuggling, since 2011, effectively, there's been open competition over control of Libya's illicit economy. And there have been two major sectors where that's been particularly extensive competition. The first is human smuggling. We've seen, as everyone is aware, massive increase in human smuggling through Libya. What's important to note, though, of course, is that in many areas of the country, the income generated from human smuggling is not easily substituted by alternative forms of income. And there's a question the extent to which certain communities are reliant upon some of these incomes. But what we've really noticed increasingly in the north of the country is the involvement of armed groups. And those armed groups have been competing against one another, extracting rents from smugglers directly, and played a major role in the launching of migrants across the Mediterranean. That competition has seen prices collapse at certain points, but it's also seen intervention, and we've seen a lot of changes on the ground as armed groups now start to switch to preventing human smuggling as a form of generating income from the UN-backed government. But it's also important to note that different forms of smuggling are connected in Libya. So if you look at one of the main launching points of migrants from Libya to Europe, that comes from the city Zawiya, which is also the centre of Libya's fuel smuggling activities. And fuel smuggling will get fewer headlines in Europe, but for many Libyans, this is the bigger issue, because Libya pays a lot of money to bring back refined products to the country and heavily subsidises petrol. Much of that petrol is being stolen effectively, and so you see tankers being diverted. This has come to the point where we've seen fuel pumps in Italy being stocked with illegal diesel from Libya, and in particular the armed groups have a big role to play in this, along with networks of profiteers. So the smuggling sector, without a strong state, continues to grow, and increasingly its scale is dependent upon actors that have a connection to the war economy, so those actors who are able to disperse force.